Hello everybody, welcome to Cape Rugby TV. It's of course Wednesday night and we talk club rugby, we look at the results, the logs, the fixtures and all the action in Western Province Rugby. Tonight we'll also take a look at some of the ins and outs of what's happening at the Western Province Rugby Union. We'll take a look at some women's development. We'll take a look at the Hubs program that has grown from strength to strength at Western Province Rugby, is making increasing developments at the Union in the world of schools rugby. And we'll take a look at some of the fixtures and stats that are rolling out in the leagues as we speak. But as I said, we're speaking more to the Union tonight, and to tell me more about women's rugby and Hubs programs and so forth and general Union matters, let me welcome to you tonight Sammy Malati is of course head of women's development at Western Province Rugby. Hello Sammy.
Good evening, JP. It's nice to being here tonight.
Long overdue. We haven't had you on for a while now, I don't think.
That's correct.
Yeah. Faisal Felton, of course, head of amateur rugby at Western Province Rugby, or general manager of club rugby, that is. Faisal, nice to have you back.
Yeah, good evening, JP, and yeah, good to be here again tonight.
You look like you're all warm and cozy in this cold weather. It is miserable out there at the moment.
Yes, definitely, and it is should be under the covers.
Yeah, everybody should be under the covers. All right, folks, of course, our featured game of the weekend was Penil Villages up against St. George's. But don't forget, big thanks to Hisense that has come on board as the technical partner to Cape Rugby TV. And a little bit later in the show, you can win yourself a Hisense Infinity Pulse cell phone. All you need to do is go to our Facebook page and tell us who is the official technical partner to Cape Rugby TV. You can also win yourself a case of Score energy drinks that comes up a little bit later, so keep your cell phones handy. And don't forget, of course, Factory Shops SA, a mobile app. We'll tell you more about that a little bit in the show. We know that many of you have been downloading the app to find your store nearest you with the best prices and the best discounts. That's coming up a little bit later. Don't forget to look out for the Best Med feature when we look at the Western Province Rugby School of Excellence Best Med insert. Let's take a look now. It's the first round, at least, highlights of the match, St. George's against Penil Villages. There we go, a lot of action in the match. Penil Villages against St. George's. Those, of course, the first half highlights. Sammy, I know you're a big St. George's and Penil Villages fan. You enjoy the action?
Yes, definitely, JP. There was a little bit of running rugby, which was good.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's almost like a derby. So a lot of fans, as you can see, there was a lot of fans as well.
Faisal, let's bring you into the picture here. The wind at St George's was blowing a gale force. Tough to play at St George's, both sides, when the wind is like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, especially in the Strand and that, the wind is very heavy and that there, so it's very tough to play under that conditions and that.
Yeah. All right, folks, let's catch up now with the second half highlights. Peniel Villages against St George's. Welcome back, everybody. Yes, St George's, Peniel Villages. So Peniel Villages winning there by 19 points to 7. Faisal, nothing easier anymore. I mean, we see St George's. In fact, if we look at the stats there, St George's is now sitting at number 12 on the log with a 43% win rate. So they've played 7 matches. They've won only 3 of those. Peniel Villages played 7. They've won 6 of those matches with an 86% win rate. But if you look at the points margin, there's only a 2 points difference in this game, and you would have imagined with a log difference like that there would be a bigger points difference. But clearly the difference between the teams, even if it shows on a log a big difference, the difference between the teams is not that big anymore.
Yeah, I think, Japes, what's important, I think what's evident is if you look at the competition and the format, the home ground advantage, which plays vital point in that there. If you look at St George's, they had home ground advantage playing in Gastro. You got the support of your fans and that there. I think that all counts in their favour. And I think, as you know, St George's is a team that has come now from the Super League A. Come down. They're not doing too well. I think it's a matter of regrouping. Lost a lot of players, moved over to other clubs and that. So yeah, I think definitely home ground advantage plays it's a vital in that thing.
Yeah, you probably know how to play it in the wind then. St George's captain Morne Adams spoke to us after the game.
Ik denk om te verloren op je home is zeer lekker gevoel op je gemoed. Maar ik denk die ouens het vandaag voor de eerste keer baie uit hulle. Je kon zien ons wel winnen. En misschien niet op het einde van die dag naar Oostkant toe gaan, maar ik was baie trots op ons. First half het ons meer aan die bal gehouden. En dat voor ons gewerkt. En ik denk tweede helft het ons bietjie misschien individueel gespeeld in eerste spanning. Maar ik denk die 4 weken wat ons nog af was, gaat dus aan week. Maar ik denk nog steeds ons het bij goed gedaan. Ja, definitief. Altijd Lulu, onze homescar is altijd hier, even als we travel. En baie dank aan hulle. En ik wil maar net zeggen, boys, this seizoen is nog niet klaar nie. Keep on supporting the team.
All right, well, you have to keep a positive approach one way or the other. So Morna Adams there just talking positively about the team. Like he says, the league is not finished yet. Well, as you see, they've still got a couple of games in hand. If you look at the likes of Hamlets, who's played 9 games, Collegians 9 games, Young People's, Helderberg 9 games, and St. George's now only 2 games. So they've got 2 games in hand still. So they've got room to do a little bit of catch-up. But let's now catch up with St. George's coach, Patrick Boyson.
It's a difficult result to live with, to be honest. We train hard and we play a lot on this game. I think we were a bit unhappy with certain calls on the referee side, and I think we should have executed much better in the first half than we did, and we failed to do that accordingly the way we should. But which was the advantage point is we kept the ball for longer periods in more than what they did in the first half. Most definitely we will come back bigger and stronger.
All right, Patrick Boyson just talking about the fact that they could bounce back. Faisal, just looking at the log there, if we look at the Super League B log, and we'll bring it up in a second now, the difference between the teams from essentially from the 6 on the log all the way down to number 15 on, okay, not 15, but 13 on the log. We're talking about a 1 or a 2 point difference at the moment, which means that really the bottom 10 teams in that league it's wide open.
Yeah, definitely, Jobs. As you said, if you look at the logs, the last 10 teams, I would say it's very tight, and that a win could turn around, disrupt that whole log again. And I think, at the top, I think, if you're looking at Milnerton, I think they're doing very well. He's sitting quite comfortably on top. I think this break will do wonders for a lot of the teams to regroup, and focus on, second round, getting back and start winning some games.
Yeah, all right, folks, we're going to take an ad break. When we come back, we'll catch up with the winning captain and coach from St. George's, and we'll also take a look at the, at least from Peniel Villages, and we'll also take a look at the Evox Advanced Nutrition Man of the Match. Remember, if you want to win yourself a Hisense Infinity Pulse cell phone, all you need to do is go to our Facebook page and tell us who is the official technical partner to Cape Rugby TV. It's as easy as going to the to our website, and a little bit later in the show we will announce last week's winner. Right, we'll be back after the break. Welcome back, everybody. Yes, and of course it is Cape Rugby TV. Remember, as I said earlier on, you can win yourself a case of Score energy drinks. Score has, of course, come on board with Western Province Rugby Football Union with the Sevens tournament, and you can see their logo behind me right now. You can just SMS the word SCORE to 33280. SMS the word SCORE to 33280. You can put yourself in the mix to win a case of Score energy drinks. It's fantastic drink. Anyway, all right, we'll get into that a little bit later. Let's catch up now with the winning captain and coach from Peniel Villages. We'll first speak to the captain, Emil.
Ja, ons was gelukkig op die punten, ons het kom op 5. Maar ik zei altijd van mijn ogens, net dat winnen is genoeg. So ik is tevreden met die win dat we gekregen. Ons het voor, met ons forwards. Het was bijna difficult om niet te spelen met die win. Zo was het gameplan weer aangepast in de tweede helft. En ook credit door mijn forwards. Het was voor en gevat het. Nee, ons het niet op een dag aan het begin. Ons het bijna zwaar gespeeld. So, maar bij de helft en die coaches waren te praten, dus teruggekomen. En als we weten, ons op één ding hier ons liga winnen. We gaan nou op break, week break, en dan gaan we weer beginnen hard oefenen. Dan is het twee vrienden wat we gaan spelen. En dan schrijven we meteen daarna. Maar ons is hier om liga te winnen.
Edwin Meyer is, of course, the captain at Peniel Villages. Faisal, leading from the front.
Definitely, I think leading from the front in that. I think Peniel and that, they've always been a tough side. Last couple of years, even when I was playing in that, they've always been the front runner, especially in Super League B.
Yeah.
And, just missing it last couple of games and that, they're falling short of promotion and that. So I think this year's the year for them.
Yeah, well, it certainly looks like it, because we were just talking about that now, that they've still got 2 games in hand compared to Hamlets. Yes, Union Mill are playing over the weekend. So Union Mill can jump up and maybe cement their place at the top of the log, and taking advantage of the fact that they're playing this game now in this, what I suppose, so-called break. I must say to you that I don't think that the word break is the correct word, and everybody is using this word break, because people are under the impression that club rugby is closed for 6 weeks or 9 weeks, that there is no rugby, and that the union is locking the doors and going on holiday for 8 weeks. But the reality is there is still a lot of games. The Paarl region carries on. There's lots of catch-up games, and across a lot of the leagues, we're still seeing fixtures. So it's strictly speaking, it's only a break for some of the teams. Am I right in saying that?
No, definitely, JP. Yeah, a lot of the teams, that are still playing, as you mentioned, Paarl region, the Siemensburg region, the Sunday League. Those guys are still playing in that.
Yeah, so there are still quite a lot of fixtures. Okay, well, let's catch up now with the assistant coach at Paneel Villages, George Peterson.
Not so good, but like I said, the boys learning that winning culture, en ek het groot respect vir hulle. Hy fighting, ons kan maar agterloop die ouens vir hulle kan wen. Die weer was 'n bietjie nie ons kan die ook in en so George se kant is so, maar ons het ons kanse goed gebruik. En so ons kan happy in die break gaan en 1 weekie af. Volgende 3 gaan ons hard werk. Fiksy, mentally toughness weer reg kry. En we gaan ons met tweede ronde. Ja, het sal altyd wees die negatives ook, maar ek sal sê meestal positives. So ek sê die ouens, daar was 'n tyd wat ons 'n dip gevat het. En soms moet jy maar 'n bietjie hard vir die halftime en ouens luister. En dit maak van ons 'n goeie team. Ons respek mekaar, ons stel mekaar en dis wat ons altyd vorentoe neem.
All right, there we go, folks. Anselm Matron, he plays, Anselm Matron is the man of the match. He plays prop for Paneel Villages. He was the Evox Advanced Nutrition man of the match.
Feels great. Nice to be man of the match for the second time. To come out of here and be man of the match on a different field is very good. The win, as you know, was in our favour the first half, but in the second half we make sure we kick the balls in the corner and play from there. Forwards, keep it tight, just put it in the front face balls, and then line-outs was great. We're definitely going up to Super A League next year, and must be taking a message to the guys up there. You must be careful, we're coming.
Anselm Matron, of course, the Evox Advanced Nutrition man of the match there. Congratulations, Anselm. Folks, just by the way, the reason that we were, of course, filming in the change room and that the audio is not great there is that the weather was absolutely shocking on the day. The wind was howling. There was rain outside, and we had to take the interview inside. And unfortunately, that's the nature of amateur rugby or club rugby. Is not every facility has got perfect acoustics, so to speak. But that's how it goes. That's what we do. We cover the content one way or the other. All right, folks, let's take a look now at the results in Super League A. Durban, of course, beat Hamilton's 55 points to 32. It was a win for Kuilsriver, or at least a win for Silurians over Kuilsriver, 25-24. And then Brackenfell beat NNK 17 points to 14. All right, so let's take a look at one of the surprise results there. Well, I wouldn't say necessarily surprise results because, as we said earlier on, it's equal sticks for many people, many of the clubs in Super League A. But Durban, perhaps with a bigger score margin that we had expected over Hamilton's. Faisal, one of the parts that we didn't realize really until one looks at the stats is that Durban are sitting on currently on an 88% success rate in terms of their wins. They've played 8 games, they've won 7, they've only lost 1. And up until this match against Hamilton's, we didn't really look at the stats. It looked like they were just cruising along on average, but the reality is, immediately they showed that they're a dominant force.
Yeah, I think definitely after Saturday's win and that there was a great win, I think for Durban. But I think at the same time it levels out, the competition in Super League A and that there. And I think again, with the competition, the loss that they had against SK Warmers
that was a big shock for everybody.
Was a big shock. And I think that's the excitement about the competition. No game is easy. And I think on Saturday it proved it. I think we all expected, from my side at least, that Hamiltons would walk away with it. But then again, it showed on the day, D'Urberville came out and they proved themselves.
Well, 55-32, I mean, that's more than a 22-point margin. I mean, that's a pretty big number. But it does show that Durbanville are squarely in the running. They are second, apart from Marty's at the moment, they are currently the second highest win average, and they're scoring at the moment 36 points per game, which is the same as Tigerberg, incidentally. So other than Stellenbosch, Durbanville, Hamiltons, the top average points there that the guys are putting on the board at the moment, between 30 and 40 points per game. I mean, those are high scoring games.
Yeah, no, definitely on that end. I think, again, it's the excitement about the competition and that end. I think the whole thing is to get points on the board, before the Stellenbosch comes back. If you look at Stellenbosch hasn't lost a game.
Yeah.
So the idea is now to put maximum points on the board because you're not sure exactly, where Stellenbosch falls in. And I think, the next couple of weeks in July, we find a lot of the top guns playing against each other, which will make the competition even more exciting.
But if we look at these points, and I'm going to ask Sammy, I mean, if we look at these points here, and you look at the average points, like I said, the top teams are scoring on average above 35 points per game. We're looking at False Bay. They've scored 293 points already in 9 games, and Hamilton's 330 points, Tigerberg 326 points. These are lots of numbers. I mean, Sammy, this points at the fact that we're playing lots of running rugby.
Yes, I think, JP, a lot of the clubs obviously adapt in playing more attractive rugby, which a lot of other people or the spectators would like to see. That's why the margin is so big. The more adapting the Stellenbosch, the UCT kind of rugby, where you're running with the ball and scoring more tries. So it's brilliant. It's good to see. It started club rugby already.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. Of course, we take a look at the other result there, and a team that's desperately looking to try and cement themselves is Kuilsrivier. They've played 7 matches so far. They've only lost 1 game, at least only won 1 game, which means they're on a 14% win ratio, which is only 1 better than NNK. So Kuilsrivier are desperate to try and get the points on the board now. Faisal, they're running out of time here. I mean, the secret now is to make sure that you're not in the bottom 3, because if you're in the bottom 3, you're going back down to you're going to get relegated again. So for Kuilsrivier, running out of time now. They've still got a couple of games in hand though. But they're going to want to make sure that they win their next couple of games.
Yeah, I think what's great about, if you look at the competition now, is you've played against the big guns. You've lost those games. You're finding at the bottom half, those are the guys that have got to play against each other. The top half, they are playing against each other. So you're not writing Kuilsrivier out or any of the guys at the bottom. I think it's just up to them now to win the next couple of games in that.
And of course, SK, at least Solarians, once again showed their just how strong they can be. Right, folks, let's go to an ad break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at the rest of the results in our Super League. Welcome back, everybody. Yes, as we said earlier on, you could win yourself a Hisense Infinity Pulse cell phone. All you need to do is go to our Facebook page and tell us who is the official technical partner to Cape Rugby TV. You put yourself a chance to win that Hisense Infinity Pulse LTE cell phone. Congratulations then to last week's winner, who walks away with the Hisense Infinity Pulse phone, Joseph Kampfer. Joseph walks away with the Infinity Pulse. And remember, folks, if you enter the competition, you're going into the big draw to win yourself that 55-inch smart TV. So get yourself onto Facebook. Go look for the Cape Rugby TV website and tell us who is the official technical partner to Cape Rugby TV. Congratulations also to last week's Score Energy Drink winner, Henry Davids. Henry Davids walks away with a case of Score Energy Drinks. The guys from Cape Rugby TV, Henry, will be in touch with you to get you your case of Score Energy Drinks. Remember, folks, a little bit later in the year, Score is on board with the Western Province Rugby Sevens tournament. and that's going to be just after the league. It's going to be very exciting this year. The Sevens tournament from last year goes up a level, and we're going to see lots of clubs participating in the Sevens tournament, which makes sure that rugby continues throughout the year. All right, as I said, we carry on with the rest of the results in Super League A. Brackenfell, it was a win for them over NNK, 17 points to 14, and Brackenfell continues to show their dominance, or at least not dominance, but exactly how well it is they're doing. I would say that Brackenfell have exceeded everybody's expectations. They've done really well. They said, okay, yes, they've played 10 points, so they've got one game in hand, so to speak, but they are still sitting at number 5 on the log. I think they've impressed everybody for a team that got promoted. I mean, that's what you want to do. You want to come from Super League B to secure your position in Super League A, because it's that first year that is almost impossible to stay up unless you have a solid strategy and a solid game plan with the right players. And Brackenfell seem to be the team that is making sure that getting promoted and how to stay up there.
No, definitely, JP. I think with Brackenfell, there have been lots of off-season planning and that there before the season started. They've done their homework. They went out shopping. They've got some reinforcement in that there, and I think they definitely, the plan was to stay in Super League A.
Yeah.
And as you can see, I think they've clearly done it, and they proved themselves, their position in Super League A.
Sammy, your feeling on Brackenfell?
I'll just let's on to what Faisal said. They definitely went back and they've done their planning proper.
Yeah.
Obviously, to make sure that they stay up there and not falling down after the year again. So I'm glad for Brackenfell. They've been, for the past few years, been struggling, and they're doing good at the moment.
Yeah, folks, we've of course got Sammy Malatsi, Head of Women's Development at Western Province Rugby, on the show with us, as well as Faisal Felton, the Head of Amateur, or at least Club Rugby at the Western Province Rugby Football Union. Let's take a look now at the other results in Super League B. As we saw early on, it was Peniel Villages beating St. George's 19-17. It was a win for Macassar, 17-15 over Helderberg. Union Mill beat Kraaifontein 69-7, and then Young Peoples with a loss against Belleville. I think, Faisal, if we look at the stats in Super League B, Union Mill, you can see why they're dominant with a 69-7 win over Kraaifontein. They are probably, between them and Hamlets and Peniel Villages, are the teams to watch out for in Super League B.
No, definitely, JP. I think Union Milton has come the last couple of seasons now, 2 seasons in that day. Last season they were in Super League B. They've come up, they've done their homework. I definitely think they are ready to move up to Super League A. And I definitely think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with come next year.
But that's, of course, if they want to move up to Super League A.
I think that's always a question. I mean, if you look at the teams that have went up, Super League A, I feel from my side, it's difficult. It's a challenge.
But you don't really give the clubs a choice. If you win, you force them up.
You've got to move up. Yeah. I think that's the competition. That's the way the bylaws are, the competition, the format, the rules is promotion.
So if you're coaching and you do too well, you're going up. You're going to have to step up, Sammy.
It's true. Huh? It's true, JP. And I believe, let's on to what Faisal said. Union Milton has been for the last 2-3 years. It is about time that they move up. I still believe that Ismail Dolly has planned for the 3 years to stay there, and then for this year move up to the Super League A, and I believe they're right.
I don't think that this year Ishmael Dolly and his team at Union Mill are all of a sudden going to drop 4 log points down. You just to avoid getting into Super League A. This is the year that I'm pretty sure we're going to see Union Mill, Hamlets, Peniel Villages, one of those teams are going up, or if not all 3, possibly even Villages and Belleville as well. That's how close it is at the top 5.
JP,
he can't avoid it any longer.
He can't any longer. I think, looking at their positioning in it, and speaking to some of the clubs, there's actually a fear of going to the Super League A. Because I think a lot of the times, going to Super League A can either make you or break you. And I think, looking at Brackenfell and that there, if you do your homework, planning properly and that there, you can survive. So definitely, I think from Milnerton's side, they've come around. They've been in Super League C. They've moved up, consistently. Last year they had, they were unfortunate not to make it. But I think definitely this year, they will be going up.
They're going up.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, you're going up.
You're going up.
Win or lose, you're going up.
Part of the plan.
And then, yeah, we're planning your future for you. So if you're coaching out there and you win, look out for next year. Yeah, Super League C results then. Let's take a look there. Langa, of course, beating Wraithby. Elsies went down to Franschhoek United. Cullimore with a loss against Paul, and Scottsdene 33-24 win against Laguna. Meanwhile, in the Southern League, it was Young Wesleys that beat Eersterrivier 28-26. Noordlikers beat Bishop Lavis 69-0. Delft with a loss against Stellenbosch Coronations 77-13 in the Northern League. And then Allendale beat Violets Paul 37 points to 19. So some interesting results there. Folks, as you know, the Western Province Rugby School of Excellence is gearing up now to take part in the competitions. Faisal, let's just ask you about that, or somebody let's bring you into you're involved with the School of Excellence yourself. It's now the Craven Week. Tell us a little bit about the competitions that the guys are going to now.
JP, the School of Excellence include the goals as well, because we've got under 16, under 18 national weeks as well. We're all getting up now. We're going away the 16th and the 17th for more like a final preparation for the building up to the Craven Weeks. So our final trials will definitely be available on Monday the 20th.
Well, of course, now we're talking about women's rugby now.
No, women's, that's now girls rugby and boys rugby.
Okay.
Okay, so the Craven Week for boys and girls.
Yeah.
So all the teams going up to Oudtshoorn for the 16th and 17th. And then the 20th of June, all the teams, the final teams will be announced.
Right, folks, it was their final practice session yesterday at Belleville High School for the Best Med School of Excellence. The weather, again, was absolutely atrocious. Very hard to get any footage there. But we went out there to go and speak to the coaches just to find out about their preparation and their training and getting ready for their first tour.
The following Western Province Rugby School of Excellence insert is brought to you by BestMed. Be active, be safe, be happy, be Nutri-Wise, be fit.
It's tough today with the rain, and but the boys has to get used to all the conditions. Like I told one of the boys, look, we made a decision in life that we want to play this game, and unfortunately it's a winter sport, so the conditions, it gets thrown at you and you must make use of it. Yeah, final week before we go to the Bonde tournament this weekend. So yeah, still a lot of work lying ahead. On Thursday we're playing EP, and then on Friday evening we're playing SVD against SVD and George. And then coming back on Sunday we will finalize the teams, and teams we'll now know who are the 23 guys going with the academy and the 23 guys going with the Craven Week team. A lot is expected, and like we told the group, the guys that's here, look, last year is in the past. You guys have to set your own legacy, and that's it. That's all we can. But we're looking forward. It's a good bunch of boys, and we're looking forward to making a success again this year.
It's been tough, it's been long, it's been hard for the boys. We started probably about 2 months ago, a series of trials. So it's exciting that we finally reached this point where we're heading off to the Coastal Tournament on Thursday to play SWD and the Eastern Province. I think from the union, Western Province prides itself as one of the best, having one of the best junior structures. I think that in itself always brings a certain amount of pressure for any team that represents Western Province. And that says it all. The fact that you are representing Western Province means that there's a high expectation. It is so that last year the 2 under 18 sides in particular did very well, and there will be some added pressure. But I think the pressure is more on the coaches to emulate the results than the players. They're just going out there to enjoy themselves. The main thing for us during this stage of the preparation is getting the players to get to know one another, to adopt the brand of rugby that we want to play, the systems and the structures that we're looking to implement. There isn't a lot of time. For us, it's just about giving them some commonality amongst one another. The players from different schools and different clubs getting to play in one team and play for one another. So that is probably the most important aspect for us at this stage.
The following Western Province Rugby School of Excellence insert is brought to you by BestMed. Be active, be safe, be happy, be Nutri-Wise, be fit.
Right, folks, as you know, then BestMed has come on board with the Western Province Rugby School of Excellence. Sammy, there are different divisions in the BestMed School of Excellence. You've got your under-18s, you've got your under-16s, and of course you've got your women's division as well. Just give us a quick breakdown of the different structures at the School of Excellence.
Okay, JP, it starts off obviously with off-season, whereby Wilfred Kibidu and Jerome obviously preparing the guys. We have elite squads, whereby they give them gym programs to obviously go to work in the off-season. That's now your under-16s, your under-18s, and then obviously we have a development squad as well that have an off-season program where Wilfred and Jerome Parvat is working with. For the first time this year, we're going to have joint Craven Weeks, whereby the under-18 Craven Week side will take part with the under-18 Academy side in Durban, and then the under-16 Grand Como and the under-13 Craven Week side will take part here in Paarl. So it's for the first time. I think it's a pilot project to see if it will work, and I'm very positive that it will.
Just give us a snapshot, the difference between, for the viewer out there, the difference between Craven Week and Grand Como.
The difference between Craven Week is obviously your Craven Week players is your under-18 players that will obviously go through, and obviously some of them, a squad of them will obviously be signed on to the institute, whereby they will form part of our institute, and then obviously your Grand Como is the next bunch of guys that obviously would be get contracted obviously for your next year for your under-18s. So that's important for keeping the system going, to have your under-16s coming through and obviously work with them in the off-season to get them ready for the under-18s as well.
Your feeling, Faisal, in terms of the caliber of the kids that have come through the ranks now in the last year or two, three? I mean, we were looking at the trials now. We've been out to some of the practice matches. I mean, if we look at the size of some of these kids, the skill, it's just chalk and cheese to where it was 10, 15 years ago.
Definitely, JP. I think if you look even at under 13 level, the size of those kids and the skill of those kids in that there, I mean, it's crazy. It's phenomenal. Chatting to some of the refs that have been helping out in the trials, who have been exposed now to to referee at that level. I mean, for them, it was a fantastic opportunity, but at the same time, the comments that they were making in terms of the speed and the skill and the caliber, I mean, a lot of them, you can't compare it to a club game. It's a lot faster, a lot quicker, and like I said, the skill it's unbelievable.
How much work, I mean, let's bring you into how much work do we find between the union itself and the school's coaches? Because obviously they're not just doing it on their own. They must be tapping into the curriculum, if you want to call it that, from the union side.
From the union side, I think there's a lot of work that's obviously behind the scenes. Your bios and obviously your relationship between the schools, and obviously the union needs to be perfect, because as from the union side, they need to speak obviously to the schools in the program that they would like to run from the union side towards the school, obviously getting that guys more conditioned, because I believe the game has obviously get more faster, you play more clever rugby, so you need to be conditioned very, very good. And from the union side, they're obviously speaking to especially our big schools, obviously, to keep that guys conditioned and ready to compete on the highest level.
All right, folks. Well, they have it about the BestMed School of Excellence, and it's chalk and cheese compared to how it was before. After the break, we're going to take a look at the Tennis Linear Rugby Day that is coming up tomorrow. It's happening in Paarl, so if you're out in the Paarl region, or if you want to take a drive and watch some good rugby, there's a full day of rugby out at Forest Street, where it's the Tennis Linear Rugby Day. Once again, raising funds, and your support would be most welcome. So come out and join us there, and of course we'll take a look at some of the fixtures coming up over the weekend, and then we'll talk to Sammy about women's development in Western Province Rugby, as well as to Mr. Faisal Felton about the Hubs program. You've all been wanting to know what the Hubs program is about, and after the break we'll tell you more about that. Stick around. Welcome back, everybody. Yes, it is, of course, Cape Rugby TV. And remember, you can find us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV. Let's quickly take a look at some of the fixtures coming up this weekend. It's NNK against Tygerberg. That's in Super League A. In Super League B, it's Union Mill against Bellville. And that's the featured match of the weekend. It's a catch-up game for Milnerton. They're playing against Bellville at Milnerton, so you want to make sure that you get down there to Milnerton on Saturday and come and watch the two monsters taking on each other, Union Mill and Bellville. And then in the City League, it's Temperance up against Western Zebras. All right, there's a beautiful poster that's come in from Union Mill. Love the fact that the guys are sending out the posters. 18th of June, that's of course Saturday. Kickoff is at 4 o'clock at the Theo Marais Park. There's a cash bar available. It's only 10 Rand per car and 10 Rand per person. Then 20s kick off at 1:30. Then the thirds at also at 1:30 at least. So they're playing together on both fields. So you can get there at just before 1:30 to enjoy the game. The second team is kicking off at 3, and then of course the first at 4 o'clock. We love the fact that we get down to Milnerton and everything is so organised. Everything is organised there. It's a beautiful venue. There's lots of space for parking. There's two fields going on at the same time. And I have no doubt that Union Mill is once again going to pull some sort of rabbit out the hat whereby they end up donating something to somebody. Although I'm not holding them to that, but speculating on Union Mill's activities. The other event that's coming up, folks, is tomorrow. Now, you want to get out to the Tinus Lanier Rugby Day. All right, this is an event that's been taking place for a while now, in support of Tinus Lanier and his family. There are a number of teams, you can see it on the poster there, although a little bit small, but there are a number of teams that are going to be playing. The fixtures, or at least the activity, starts already at 10 o'clock in the morning. So a lot of activity happening tomorrow at the Forestry Stadium. Once again, it's only 10 Rand for the adults, 5 Rand for children. The funds are going towards Tinus Lanier's family. Albions, Scottsdene, Rangers, Standards, Police, Doorlikers, Hamilton's, Crocker, Paul Legends, Strand Wrakke, the Kaapse Legends. There are a couple of secondary schools that are playing. And don't forget, of course, the feature matches. So it's going to be very exciting tomorrow. So come down to the Forest Street Stadium. Entry fee is only 10 Rand. Come and support the Tinus Lanier Rugby Day. And as I said, funds getting raised for Tinus Lanier's family, as we do as a rugby family in the Western Province. Now, Faisal, I think that's quite incredible, the way that rugby tends to look after themselves and itself within its family structure.
No, definitely, JP, and I think we start realizing that club rugby is more than rugby. It's about a community and involvement of the community and support. And I mean, it's just one of the many things that clubs are actively involved in that.
All right, folks. We said earlier on we would talk to you a little bit about women's sport. Sammy, let's bring you into the picture now. Women's development at Western Province Rugby. How many women's teams have we got? What's happening with girls in women? Tell us about your role at Western Province Rugby and how we're doing and who's playing and where can the girls play? I mean, so I'll get into a few more questions, but I think everybody just wants to know about women's sport rugby at the Union.
JB, I talk about women's rugby for the last 3-4 years. Getting excited because obviously numbers has been growing. For the moment, we have 8 clubs that's playing in a league, home and away. But for me, the more exciting part is obviously from last year we grow about from 32 teams to 52 teams for our juniors. So that means under 16s, under 13s, under 18s playing on a neutral venue whereby we have festivals. It is fantastic. We're getting support from the parents these days, which is lovely for me. The girls is playing on a regular base every second Friday. And to let's on to the Hubs program. We have coaches that's looking after girls rugby in the schools as well through the Hubs project. There's the coaches we put from Western Province side, we put in coaches in the schools, and they help and assist with girls rugby as well. So they obviously see to it that girls rugby is improving by coaching wise.
So have you did you say 52?
52 teams.
52 school teams that have actually got a school's girls rugby team.
That's correct. Last year we had 7s because obviously the numbers wasn't that great.
Yeah.
But this year we obviously moved over to 10s because the numbers is obviously growing, and for next year we will obviously look to get more into 15s so the girls can start playing 15s as well. there's a number of schools that's getting involved.
So are the girls at the moment, are they at the schools, are they playing 7s rugby or 15s rugby?
They play 10s.
10s rugby.
So we moved from 7s over to 10s rugby.
Right, okay. And what age groups are the girls playing?
We've got under 13s, that will obviously still playing 7s rugby. And then under 16 and under 18, that will play 10s rugby. And it's exciting. You can see the skills of the girls is lifting up because they're playing on a week-to-week base, which is brilliant for me. And then obviously there's talent coming through.
All right, so for the girls that are out there, I think the next question is, so we got girls rugby. How many clubs have we got? Women's clubs? Because we get a lot of questions from to Cape Rugby TV from women who say, I want to join a club, where do I go? So how many women's clubs have we got in West Province?
At the moment, JP, we only have 8 women's clubs. I rather grow the teams in the clubs instead of growing the clubs, because you never know, some clubs will die out then. I would like to have obviously continuously whereby you have juniors going from junior structure into a club system. So that I would rather have 8 clubs with 20 teams in a club, which will be better and will be obviously sustainable. So our 8 clubs, obviously that's sustainable now for the last 10 years.
So the obvious question now is, you've got school girls playing rugby. Now when they leave school, they've got a club to go to.
That's correct.
All right. Okay, Faisal, let's bring you into this now. We're talking about school rugby, the Hubs program. I mean, firstly, does this word Hubs, H-U-B-S, is there a meaning behind it, or is it just simply the fact that it's a hub?
I think it's
mean, it's not a.
No, it's not an abbreviation
it's
of anything.
An abbreviation.
No, JP, Hubs is different areas that we have, and as Sammy has said, the Hubs program, we work closely with the women's rugby and that, and I think the whole idea is about building a foundation. Starting at the bottom, growing the numbers, participation. I think with women's rugby, we've seen as well the growth in it because of participation. At the schools. The idea of the Hubs is to help the schools when it comes to manpower, support and that, because
so let me just stop. Let's just break this down a little bit, because I think some people think still that at schools, I mean, the impression that we're getting through the media and people who talk on average is that teachers who teach at schools, they don't really teach sport anymore, or they don't coach teams anymore. Is this where you saw the gap? Is that a fact?
JP, there are challenges at schools when it comes to educators being involved in sports and that. The burden being placed on them when it comes to academics, and the priority being faced when it comes to academics. So the school's focus is on academics, results and that. But what we're saying is it's got to be a balance as well. You find kids gifted on the sports field and kids gifted in the classroom and that there. So what we're trying to do is
you were of course one of those that were gifted on the sports field as opposed to
yes, definitely.
In fact, I've seen you play, so I would say probably you were gifted in the school.
no, definitely, JP, and I think that's where we've seen the need. In the past, what we would do is we go out and we'll do coaching clinics, and we'll invite schools, and then we always find that the schools, nothing happens from there. And then when we introduced this program and we visited school, myself and Sammy, we've seen that the challenge in the school is manpower and support and that there. And I think that's where we came in to say we want rugby, we want to provide access to rugby. And I think what's important as well with the program, it's not about creating rugby stars, it's about providing access to rugby.
Before you tell us too much about the program, let's just understand the actual infrastructure. So you've got rugby coaches at Western Province Rugby that you've recruited, and they go to schools once or twice a week to go and... Is that right? Did I explain it correctly?
We have 93 coaches on our books that are involved in the schools Monday to Friday. So they're from 8 o'clock till 4 o'clock the afternoon. They're there to assist the school. So they assist the educator when it comes to LO classes, phys ed and that there. So they're basically assisting teachers.
Do they teach more than rugby, or do they focus on rugby? I mean, how does it work? Do the kids come during break time, or is it after school, or...?
JP, as you said, the challenge with schools is manpower and support. So what we do is we go into the schools, we help the schools. So some of my coaches are helping with soccer, they're helping with tennis. I think the whole idea is about providing a school with a sports educator. I think what we want is we don't want to compete with other sports, and I think it's about having synergy with the various sporting codes. So if a child plays cricket in summer, that's great. We know that in winter he's going to be coming over and he's going to be playing rugby. I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to emulate the structures that you have at your big schools. And as you mentioned earlier, if you look at these kids coming from these big schools, the top schools, the Bishops, Stellenbosch, all these schools, you'll see the conditioning, the physique and that. And I think that comes about by having structures at the schools. And I think what we're trying to do is assist and help the schools now, in the communities when it comes to sports education, sports educators.
Those 93 schools that you're going to now, do they actually have 15-man or 10-man teams? Are they playing against each other? Is there a league structure? Give us a little bit about the beyond the coaching side of that.
I think what happens is these schools will play on a Wednesday, so they participate. So it's all about participation. I think what we want is that schools must play. On a Wednesday, these schools will play. This year we moved over to our regional side. So the schools will play on a Wednesday, and then on a Saturday, from the best players, we choose a regional team that will compete in the schools league. I think the whole idea is about taking them out of the hubs. So whether it's Mitchell's playing LC's, Kailicha, taking them out and competing in the school structure. And why I say it's from our side, it's our responsibility. What we're trying to do is because the schools are struggling. Taking transport, for instance. Transport costs you 2,500 rand a bus. To say to a school that you need to have 3 teams or you're going to have 4 teams, it's a cost factor. For the principal to lay out while you're stressing and worrying about academics and that, now you're having got extra expenses when it comes to transport, kits and equipment. We're trying to see from the hub side, how do we help these schools? Because I think the program has shown this year, especially Kailicha and younger, the pilot projects that we're running, kids want to play. No kids, I mean the numbers are there. 2 weeks ago we played against Western Province Prep. We had 11 teams competing. Yesterday I had a call from Western Province Prep. They would like to play against the team again. So it shows that the program is successful. We had a success with one of our kids from Lewa Primary that has now been part of the under-13 Craven Week.
Yeah.
We've had success with one of our coaches, Pulela. She's now a provincial referee. So it shows the talent is out there. The problem that we have is identifying the talent if kids are not playing.
And once again, the school kids, once they get to matric and leave, the idea is to integrate them with a club structure where they'll leave school and go and play rugby at a club.
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully in their vicinity.
Yeah, definitely, JP. When we talk about a hub, we talk about primary school, we talk about high school, and we talk about club. We talk about a community. So from my side as club rugby, the idea is to create the synergy and the linkage between high school and the club to grow the community.
Sammy Malatsi, thank you very much for joining us. We're going to hopefully be getting as much information from you as possible about women's rugby. So congratulations, best of luck, and we look forward to following your progress.
Thank you very much, JP. It was nicely having myself here speaking for women's rugby.
Yeah, okay, and Faisal, we'll follow the Hubs program keenly, and of course, a couple of hot fixtures are still coming up this weekend. It's NNK against Tygerberg, Union Mill against Belleville, and Temperance and Cities take on Western Zebras. So lots of fixtures still coming up, folks. Cape Rugby is not going anywhere, nor is Western Province Rugby closing down for the next 9 weeks, just because students are on a holiday. Not happening. Rugby carries on. Faisal, thanks for joining us. We'll see you again, hopefully, in the next couple of days, and we'll certainly see you on the side of the field.
Definitely, JP. Thanks again for having me here, and I look forward to being on the show again.
Lekker. Fantastic, folks. That's a wrap from Cape Rugby. We'll see you again next week. Same time, same place. Don't forget, tomorrow, it's the Tinderstenia Day at Forest Street. Come and join us. And then, of course, Union Mill are up against Belleville. That's this Saturday. Next week, same time, same place. Have a fantastic rugby weekend. Bye-bye.